Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive into some really awesome career tips.
Yeah.
This time we're going to be tackling problem solving,
Ooh.
which is like a super crucial skill for any professional,
Oh,
right?
no, yeah,
Who
absolutely.
wants to kind of climb that ladder.
For sure.
And, speaking of getting to the root of things,
Yeah.
I'm really excited to have Jenny with us today.
Aye.
She's our resident expert at, dissecting these complex ideas
Eh.
and revealing the why behind the what.
I'm happy to be here.
Awesome.
Problem solving is like something I'm really passionate about.
I love that.
Yeah.
So you, our listener, sent us some really interesting excerpts from a book called Mastering Problem Solving, a 5-step blueprint for professionals
Okay.
by Azhar.
Interesting.
So today we're going to explore the most valuable takeaways from his book and see how all of us can become better problem solvers in our own work lives.
Yeah, and one of the first things that jumped out at me was this idea that so many of us are only fixing these surface level issues, which just leads to more problems down the line.
It's the worst.
Yeah.
Like, have you ever felt like you were stuck in that loop of fixing the same issue over and over again?
Oh, absolutely, all the time.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah.
So Azhar provides some really solid strategies for breaking free from that cycle, and that's what we're talking about today.
Love it.
The first step that he outlines is identifying the real problem,
Okay.
not just the symptoms.
Right.
And he introduces this fascinating technique
Okay.
called the 5 whys method.
5 whys.
Have you heard of this?
I have actually, yeah.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about that.
So the 5 whys is such a simple but powerful tool,
Okay.
and it forces you to dig deeper
Okay.
by repeatedly asking why until you can get to that root cause.
I like it.
So imagine a team that's constantly missing deadlines.
Okay. Yeah.
The initial reaction might be to just blame poor time management.
Right. Like those people just can't manage their time.
Right, exactly.
But that's just addressing a symptom.
Yeah.
We're not getting to the why.
So you start asking why.
Okay.
Why are they missing the deadlines?
Okay.
Maybe it's because tasks are taking longer than expected.
Oh.
Why are those tasks taking longer?
Yeah. Why?
It could be because the requirements aren't clear.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so we're getting somewhere.
Yeah.
We're peeling back those layers.
Exactly. You keep going.
Okay.
Why are the requirements unclear?
Okay.
Maybe it's because communication with the client is sporadic and unorganized.
Oh, that makes sense.
Right.
Oh,
So then you ask, well, why is the communication so poor?
yeah.
And perhaps it's because there's no standardized process for gathering requirements. And finally, why is there no standardized process?
Oh, yeah. Getting down to it.
The answer could be something like, because leadership hasn't prioritized it.
Wow. So what initially looked like an individual performance issue might actually be a systemic problem
Right.
stemming from leadership.
Exactly.
Okay, so that completely changes how you would approach a solution. Instead of focusing on individual time management,
Yeah.
you might need to advocate for clearer processes and better communication channels.
Exactly.
That's a great example of how the 5 whys can uncover those hidden issues.
Yeah.
I know I've definitely fallen into that trap before,
Yeah, me too.
of jumping to conclusions before understanding the full picture.
Right. It's so common. It's
Yeah.
a common mistake.
But once you have identified the real problem,
Okay.
the next crucial step is to gather data.
Yes.
We need to make those evidence-based decisions.
Not gut feelings.
Right.
Assumptions. No data.
Data, Azhar really emphasizes that data is like a compass.
Okay.
It's guiding you towards the right solution.
Right.
He gives an example of a company that noticed a drop in customer satisfaction
Uh-oh.
and immediately assumed their customer service was to blame.
The classic knee-jerk reaction.
Oh, they were like, oh, we got to get those people some training.
Yeah.
But when they actually analyzed the customer feedback and the complaints and all of the product return data, they discovered that the real issue was hidden fees.
Wow, sneaky, right?
Yeah. Customers felt misled and frustrated,
Right.
even if the service itself was fine.
Totally.
So instead of investing in more customer service training,
Right.
they ended up focusing on transparent pricing.
Interesting.
And that's why data is so critical.
Yeah.
It can reveal those hidden patterns and challenge our assumptions.
It's so powerful
It is.
for making sure you're actually solving the right problem.
Totally.
Now, once you have that data,
Totally.
it's important to think about the problem
Yeah.
in the context of the wider system.
Okay, so Azhar calls this thinking in systems, not silos.
Okay.
It reminds me of that saying every action has an equal and opposite reaction.
Oh, I like that.
Sometimes a solution in one area can create a whole new problem somewhere else.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
He gives a really interesting example of an IT team
Okay.
that was rushing to roll out new software to meet a deadline,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
They succeeded in hitting their target.
Okay.
But shortly after, the entire system started crashing.
Oh, no.
I know those system crashes are the worst.
Yeah, that's not good.
What happened?
So in their haste, they hadn't allocated enough time for like proper testing. They were so focused on meeting that deadline
Yeah.
that they didn't fully consider the potential impact on the wider system.
Oh, that makes sense. I can totally see that happening.
Yeah, it's easy to get tunnel vision when you're under pressure.
Totally.
And that's why it's so crucial to think about the interconnectedness of things, you know?
Yeah.
How does this problem relate to other departments or processes or even, external factors?
I like that. So it's not just about identifying that root cause, but
Yeah.
also understanding the ripple effects
Exactly.
of our solutions.
And that brings us to Azhar's next step.
Okay.
Develop and test solutions.
Ooh, I like this.
We need to move beyond that, knee-jerk reaction of
Yeah.
implementing the first idea that comes to mind.
Oh, I am so guilty of that.
I think we all are.
It's so tempting to just jump into action mode.
Oh, yeah. We've all been there.
We just want to fix it.
But Azhar really stresses the importance of brainstorming.
Okay.
Multiple potential solutions before you make a decision.
Yes, it's good.
He suggests coming up with at least 3 different approaches.
Okay, so you're not limiting yourself to just one option.
Right.
You can weigh the pros and cons of each
Exactly.
and make a more informed decision.
Exactly. And once you have those options,
Yeah,
it's time to test them out.
I like it.
Don't just blindly implement a solution without first considering, the potential consequences.
It's like running a science experiment.
Exactly.
You have your hypothesis,
Yeah,
and now you need to test it to see if it holds up.
exactly. Azhar gives a great example of a retail store that was struggling with high employee turnover.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Yeah, and their initial thought was to simply increase salaries.
Okay, makes sense.
But instead of going straight to that solution, they decided to test a few different approaches.
Oh, what do they do?
So they implemented some employee engagement programs.
Okay.
They provided leadership training for managers.
Nice.
And they introduced flexible work schedules.
Oh, those are all good.
Right. And by testing these various solutions,
Yeah.
they discovered that the real problem wasn't compensation,
Well.
but poor management.
Oh, wow.
Employees were leaving because they felt undervalued and unsupported.
So their initial assumption about salary being the main issue was completely wrong.
Exactly.
Wow.
But by taking the time to test those different solutions,
Right.
they were able to pinpoint the true root cause
I love it.
and invest in a more effective solution, which was leadership development.
That's such a powerful illustration of how testing can save you so much time and resources and headaches down the line.
Oh, yeah.
It's much better to experiment on a small scale
Yes.
than to implement a large-scale solution that ends up being completely ineffective.
Absolutely. And that leads us to the final step. In Azhar's problem-solving framework,
I'm ready.
making it a permanent fix
Okay.
and preventing future problems.
Oh, I love that.
This is where we shift from being reactive
Yeah.
to proactive.
It's not enough to just solve the immediate problem.
Right.
We need to make sure it doesn't come back to haunt us.
Exactly. It's like building a fortress around your solutions.
I love that analogy.
You've put out the fire, but now you need to fortify your defenses to prevent future outbreaks.
Okay, with you.
Azhar emphasizes the importance of documentation, preventative policies, and monitoring systems.
So it's about creating those sustainable solutions that stand the test of time.
Precisely. He gives the example of a company
Okay.
that was plagued by constant inventory shortages.
Oh, that sounds stressful.
Yeah, they were stuck in this cycle of scrambling to order more stock whenever supplies ran low.
Oh my gosh, how did they break free from that cycle?
They took a multifaceted approach.
Okay.
First, they implemented a real-time inventory tracking system
Okay.
so they could monitor stock levels at a glance.
Okay, so using technology to their advantage.
Exactly. And then they introduced AI-based demand forecasting
Wow.
to help them anticipate future needs and adjust their ordering proactively.
Fancy.
And finally, they established clearer vendor agreements with guaranteed delivery timelines.
Oh, smart. Okay.
So by addressing the problem from multiple angles,
Yeah.
they created a robust system
Oh, I get.
that helped prevent those shortages from happening again.
So they went from constant firefighting to strategic prevention.
Exactly.
I bet that made a huge difference in their stress levels and their overall efficiency.
Absolutely. And that's the power of taking a proactive, preventative approach to problem solving.
Yeah.
It's about anticipating challenges and putting systems in place to avoid them altogether.
This has been so insightful, Jenny.
Oh, good.
Azhar's 5-step framework really provides a practical roadmap for anyone who wants to become a more effective problem solver.
It's a fantastic resource.
It is.
Yeah.
And, it's like that growth mindset we talk about all the time.
Yeah.
It's about viewing these obstacles not as roadblocks, but as detours.
Yeah.
That can lead to some unexpected discoveries.
Absolutely every problem.
Yeah.
No matter how frustrating it may seem in the moment,
Right.
is an opportunity to learn and adapt and innovate.
And sometimes those detours can lead to, even better outcomes
Right.
than we initially imagined.
Yeah. Totally think about it this way.
Okay.
If everything always went smoothly,
Yeah.
we'd never have a chance to develop our problem-solving muscles.
That's true.
It's those challenges that force us to think creatively
Right.
and come up with new and better ways of doing things.
I love that. You well said, Jetty. You've given us so much to think about today.
Oh, thanks.
So, Azhar's 5-step blueprint, identifying the real problem, gathering that data, thinking, systematically testing solutions, and then implementing those preventative measures.
Right.
Such a practical and powerful framework for
Wow.
approaching any challenge.
And remember, it's not about becoming like a perfect problem solver overnight. It's a continuous journey of learning
Yes.
and refining our skills and embracing those aha moments along the way.
I love that. So, listener, if you're feeling inspired to level up your problem-solving game, I highly recommend checking out Azhar's book,
Yeah.
Mastering Problem Solving, a 5-step blueprint for professionals.
It's so good.
It's packed with even more insights and real-world examples
Yeah.
that you can apply to your own work.
It's a fantastic resource for anyone who wants to become a more strategic and effective thinker.
Right. And remember, these skills are so invaluable no matter what field you're in
Right.
or what level you're at in your career.
For sure.
So thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the world of problem solving.
Yeah, this was fun.
We hope you found these insights helpful and that you're feeling equipped to tackle those workplace challenges with renewed confidence and a proactive mindset.
Remember, every problem is an opportunity for growth and innovation.
Love it.
Embrace those challenges, seek out the data, and never be afraid to experiment with different solutions.
That's what it's all about. So on that note, we'll wrap up this episode.
Okay.
Thank you so much for listening, and stay tuned for our next series, Seki and Jumpology.